Hi, I'm Anastasia Chatzka, a fashion designer with over 20 years of experience and a sewing educator. And I'm really excited you're here to share another sewing adventure with me today. Welcome to Sew Anastasia, and today we are going to make the easiest Christmas stocking ever. It's going to be a 3-piece pattern that you can download from my website under the digital download section. If you're not already a subscriber to Sew Anastasia, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when all the new videos come out. I'm doing something really cool right now. You can take a virtual sewing lesson with me. You pick your project, it can be any project you want, and I'm gonna help you complete it. I'll be in my studio and you'll be in your sewing room, and we can sew together and complete your project. Supplies for this project are super simple. You're going to need your rotary cutter, a pair of snips or scissors. You're going to also need some matching thread for your project and the 3-piece pattern, which you can get from the website in the download section. And you're gonna need to pick out some fun fabric for the stocking. So for the top of your stocking, you're gonna need about 1/4 yard of fabric. And then for the bottom of your stocking, you're gonna need about 1/2 yard. So today I'm gonna be using denim and flannel. This project is so great for going through your scrap pile and using up those scraps that are taking up space in your stash. And I know you have that problem. We all do, right? Fabric is addicting. So let's go through your stash, pick out some fun fabrics for this stocking, and let's make some Christmas stockings. The first thing you need to do is download the pattern from my website and cut it out. And it should look something like this. It's going to be 3 pieces. If you need help printing and cutting and putting together a PDF pattern from your home printer, I also have a tutorial on that, and the link for that is going to be down below. Next, we're going to lay out our fabric and cut out our stocking. When laying out your fabric, make sure you have your right sides together. We need to cut out 2 of this sock-looking shape. Also, make sure you follow your grain line on the pattern. Make sure your grain line is parallel with the selvage of your fabric. I have my fabric folded in half, so that way when I'm done cutting, I'm gonna have a front and a back stocking cut out at the same time. Here's our 2 stocking pieces, the front and the back. Now, grab the pattern piece labeled top of stocking, and we're gonna cut this one out. This one is also cut too, so make sure you fold your fabric so that way you have 2 layers, so you end up with a front and a back to your top stocking. So I have my 2 layers of fabric. I'm gonna go ahead and place my pattern piece on the fabric. Make sure you weight it, and let's cut it out with our rotary cutter. I have my 2 top stocking pieces. Now let's go ahead and cut out the loop so we can hang our stocking above the fireplace. Now grab your stocking loop, and we're gonna cut just one of this. So make sure you have just 1 layer of your fabric laid out. I have it all laid out on the grain line. Now let's cut it out. Now it's all cut out, so let's take a look at what we have. So we have 2 pieces for the top of the stocking. We have 2 pieces for the bottom of the stocking, and we have 1 piece for the loop. Now it's time to start sewing. The first thing we're gonna do is place right sides together for the bottom of the stocking, and then we're gonna sew from the top all the way around, back up to the top. Today I'm gonna be using the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2. You can use any sewing machine that has a straight stitch or an overcast stitch on it. I'm gonna be using an overcast stitch today to sew together the stocking. An overcast stitch is gonna give me a seam, and it's also gonna finish the edge to prevent it from fraying all at the same time. So cool. So also keep in mind when you're using this stitch, you're gonna have to switch out your foot. You're gonna be using the J foot if you're using the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2. Your J foot is going to look like this. It has a little metal bar on it that's gonna prevent the stitches from puckering. This stitch is so easy because it's basically gonna do everything in one step. If you wanted, you could also serge all your edges first and then straight stitch them. Or if you don't have a serger, you could zigzag all your edges and then you could also straight stitch them together. But this stitch is gonna allow us to create a seam and finish the edge at the same time. So cool! Let's make sure we back stitch. So a couple stitches forward and a couple stitches backwards, and now you can continue all the way down your stocking. Notice how it's creating a straight stitch and then it's creating a ladder stitch almost going over to the right. And this is finishing the edge of your fabric. Make sure you backstitch at the end and cut. Now your stocking should look something like this on the edge if you use the overcast stitch. Next, grab your two top stocking pieces and place them right sides together on top of each other. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sew up the sides with that overcast stitch. Let's overcast these two pieces together. Make sure you backstitch. Make sure you follow the shape at the hem of the top of the stocking because that's gonna make a really big difference when we're hemming the top of it. Now let's do the other side. Looks great. When the edges of your stocking are overcast at the top, they will look something like this. Now grab your loop pattern piece and we're going to fold it right sides together, and then we're going to sew from end to end with the overcast stitch. Now grab a safety pin and we are going to turn the loop right side out. Go ahead and undo your safety pin and let's put it through one piece of the fabric and go ahead and close it. And now we're going to take the head of the safety pin and put it into the tube. And now I want you to push the head of the safety pin through the tube and pull the fabric down the safety pin. Push it out so you get to the other end, and then just keep pulling the fabric down, and then your loop will turn right side out. Next, grab the top of your stocking with it inside out, and we're gonna hem the edge that's wider. So notice how it's smaller at the top and wider at the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and do a rolled hem. So we're gonna do a 1/4 inch and then another 1/4 inch, and then we're gonna use a straight stitch and we're gonna stitch right on the edge. And this is gonna give us a really nice finish at the top hem of our stocking. Next, I wanna change my foot out to the B foot and change my machine to the straight stitch, and then we're gonna do our rolled hem. So let's fold it a 1/4 and then another 1/4, and now we can go ahead and stick it under the foot, and we're gonna stitch right on the edge. So make sure your needle is hitting the very edge of the fold. Keep rolling it as you go, 1/4 and 1/4. If you like, you can use pins. Now when you get back to where you started, make sure you go over it a couple stitches and then back stitch. And cut. Now the hem should look like this on the outside and like this in the inside. Now that we have all three pieces separately sewn, we need to put them together at the very top of the stocking and finish it. So now that we have our three pieces sewn separately, what we need to do is put them together. So it's a little tricky on how you need to lay this out so that way your edge at the top ends up finished. So make sure you turn the bottom of your stocking right side out, make sure you turn the top of your stocking right side out, and make sure your loop is right side out. So now we're gonna put the top of the stocking inside of the bottom of the stocking. And make sure you're putting the hemmed edge in first so that way our raw edges are gonna match when we put them into each other. So go ahead and put this inside. Line up your side seams. This is a great time to use some pins or clips. We also want to make sure that we get this loop in here. So the loop actually needs to go in between the two layers. So make sure your loop is directly on the side seam so that way your stocking hangs properly. Now we're gonna go ahead and sew in a circle all 3 pieces together. You can either just do a straight stitch here because the seam's gonna be enclosed so you won't see any raw edges, or you could switch back and do the overcast stitch for this step as well. I'm just gonna be using the regular straight stitch with the A-foot. So I'm starting at the side seam, and you can see I've got my loop sandwiched in there. Don't forget to backstitch. Now that it's sewn all the way around the top edge, we can go ahead and flip it right side out. So go ahead and take your flap and flip it down. And look, there's our loop. And now we have a nice finished edge at the top of our stocking. So cute, I love it. This is such a great way to use up all those scraps sitting in your stash. Also makes a really great way to give a gift for the holidays. I can't wait to see how all of your stockings turn out. So make sure you tag me at Sew Anastasia or shoot me over a DM with your photos so I can share them with everybody. Because I know everybody wants to check out everybody else's projects and spread the creativity. Thanks so much for watching Sew Anastasia today. I hope you had fun making a stocking with me. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down below and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and give us a little applause. And if you don't follow me on social media yet, make sure you check me out on Instagram at Sew Anastasia or Anastasia Chatzka. You can check me out on Facebook and Twitter and all the other social media websites as well. And if you want to help Sew Anastasia grow, make sure you hop on over to Patreon and check out all the ways that you can do that. And don't forget, I'm also teaching virtual sewing lessons. So check out my virtual sewing lessons and I can help you with any of your projects that you're working on right now. And links for all of that are going to be down below. And if you're in Chicago, I also teach private one-on-one classes along with very small group classes as well. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!